We usually think about history in big, sweeping eras. But what happens when you zoom in on just one day? Well, that's what we're doing. We're looking at August 4th, a single date that shows just how messy and complicated our story really is. I mean, that quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's the perfect setup. It reminds you that on any day of the year, the full spectrum of human experience is happening all at once. And August 4th is just a perfect example of that. So let's really get into it. We're going to look at the two sides of this historical coin. And you'll see how one date can hold events that feel like they're from completely different worlds. The absolute best of us and some of the most heartbreaking moments. And here it is, laid out right in front of you. It's a wild contrast. On one side, you have creation, leadership, independence. And on the other, just profound loss and tragedy. So how does all this happen on the same day? Let's start with the stories of creation. All right, first up, we're diving into those moments of beginning. We're talking about the founding of an entire organization dedicated to saving lives and the birth of a leader who would become this incredible global symbol of what's possible. So let's go way back. August 4th, 1790. The U.S. Coast Guard gets its start, though back then it was called the Revenue Cutter Service. Fast forward over 200 years, and it's become this absolutely essential part of the U.S. Armed Forces. Their mission? Everything from protecting coastlines to, being the ones who come save you in a storm. It's an amazing legacy of service that started right here, on this day. And then on August 4th, 1961, a completely different kind of beginning, the birth of Barack Obama. This is the man who would go on to break one of the biggest barriers in modern history, becoming the first African-American president. And beyond huge policies like the Affordable Care Act or winning a Nobel Peace Prize, his presidency became this powerful symbol, a symbol of hope, of progress for literally millions of people all over the planet. But like we said, every coin has two sides. So now we have to pivot. We have to look at the other story of August 4th. And this one is about deep, deep sorrow. And it's a stark reminder of just how fragile life can be. This number, it's just 2. And it's stark for a reason. It stands for the 2 years Anne Frank and her family hid from the Nazis in that secret annex in Amsterdam. Think about that. 2 years of living in silence, in fear, holding on to hope. All of it ending on August 4th, 1944, when they were discovered. Her diary, of course, survived, and it's become one of the most important books ever written, a window into the Holocaust. But her capture on this day, it transformed her into this global symbol of innocence lost, a voice for the millions of people who were silenced forever. And tragedy can also be completely random. On this same date in 2001, this number, more than 70, represents the people who died when their bus fell into a ravine in Pakistan. It was a sudden, devastating accident, a horrible reminder that history's sadness isn't always tied to war or conflict. Sometimes it's just about the fragility of a single, ordinary moment. But the story of August 4th doesn't just end in tragedy. Let's pull back up again. Let's move from that sorrow to a story of total liberation, to the day an entire nation got to celebrate its freedom and a brand new start. Okay, so check this out. August 4th, 1960. The nation then known as Upper Volta, we know it today as Burkina Faso, declares its independence from France. I mean, this was the end of decades of colonial rule. It was the beginning of self-determination. And from there, the nation would grow to become a really important voice in the Pan-African movement, forging its own path on the world stage. So we've seen all these stories, right? A service founded to save lives, a leader born to inspire millions. A young girl's diary comes to a tragic end, and an entire nation's news story begins. What does it all mean when you smash it all together like this?
Well, here's the big takeaway. History isn't this neat, clean, straight line that goes from bad to good. It's messy, it's complicated. And a day like August 4th is the perfect snapshot of the whole human experience. Triumph and tragedy, they aren't just in the same history book. A lot of the time, they're on the very same page.
So when you think about all of this, the hope, the absolute heartbreak, the acts of creation, and the moments of loss, all of it packed into a single 24-hour period on the calendar, It really makes you wonder, out of all these powerful stories from August 4th, which is the one that really hits home for you?